Well, today is October 25th, 2011, and I just finished up eating some Skittles. And I was wondering, why do I like Skittles? I know they're sugary little bites of sweetness, and I'm just joking. You know, I figured it out though. The other day I had a couple of Skittles and I thought, man, this tastes like sherbet. And I was like, man, that's pretty dang good. That's really good. I could taste the rainbow colors. But you know, I was thinking about, you know, what's going on, and there's lots of different people coming, and I'm actually looking right at the Pine Ridge water tower that's so famous, and there's a lot of things that have happened. I was just listening to a young lady, you know, talk about, you know, the corruption of today and how it doesn't really reflect on, you know, what happened 150 years ago, but really, realistically, it has. I mean, there's the effects of the colonization has really had an adverse effect on the culture of today, and we're going to be looking at that in the next couple weeks, or the next week. I hope that even gets some film this week. But I want to show you some parts of Pine Ridge, parts of the struggles that we're facing, and you know, and just the poverty level. I mean, there's so much that where there's a lot of negativity, but there's also positive. There's lots of positive stuff, and you know, I don't know if I'm going to be profound, and you know, maybe I'm just telling the same story, just with a little different perspective. But the perspectives, I mean, the story of the Oglala Lakota people, you know, is a story of hope and determination and fortitude, you know, getting through the ugly, you know, to get to a better place. And, you know, I was thinking about people like Martin Luther King Jr., you know, and him sharing his dream, you know, his dream of a new world, a better place. You know, I think that we can dream that here in Pine Ridge, and we can say, you know, we hope for a better future for our children. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of children that when they move away, they don't come back. And so it kind of depletes all the positive, a lot of the positive people that are educated and that have been able to walk in two worlds. There's a book called Through Indian Eyes, and it's really kind of a fascinating book, you know, of just the history of Native America and how we see it. Hey, look at that green cup, huh? It's a nice green cup. As my good friend Chris says, is that water is the first medicine. So we're to drink a lot of water, and but through Indian Eyes, you know, that's one of the things. It's like all these 2020, Oprah, NBC, Dateline, multiple, you know, small film companies coming out here filming. You know, what they're seeing is through the lens of, I mean, there's some Asians, but the lens of the Americans coming in and showing you a perspective. And, you know, I hope that one of the things I give you is a perspective of mine. And someone asked one guy, well, same young woman, she says, what are you, so I told her, I said, I used to get, you know, $300 to $600 for a school, to go and speak at a school. And she said, well, what are your credentials? And then I showed her my arm, and she said, is that your farmer's tan? I said, no, man, the skin, the Indian in me, those are my credentials. And so then one of her bosses comes in and he speaks and he gets so much money per hour, and I said, so what are your credentials? He's like, what do you mean? I said, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know. I mean, she's like, what's my credentials? I mean, I've traveled in Asia, not the Orient, but in Asia. I've traveled, I've written, I'm a writer, I'm a columnist, I went to college. I mean, I did a lot of things, and it's like, and now, one of the things is I've spoken around the country. I mean, I've done, I've spoken to small groups all the way to groups as large as 10,000 youth. Been in auditoriums, and I've stood there and I've encouraged people. I mean, I was a chaplain for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I know there's a lot of people. So what? It's like, yeah, you try to be a chaplain for an NCAA Division I, top 25 team, and you go out there and you say, well, I'm gonna come and speak to your team today. I mean, I've done things like that. I mean, I'm a published writer. I mean, I've been published in articles. I've been on TV. I've been in some documentaries. I mean, I've done a lot of different things. But it's like, it's funny when someone says, "Well, what are your credentials?" I mean, why do you speak? It's like, psh. So anyway, I asked this guy. I said, "What are your credentials?" And he says, "Well," and he's probably in his 40s, well into his 40s. I don't know how old he is, but he's like, "Well, I've been involved in the culture for 30 years." And I looked at him, and I was kind of like, well, I've been Indian my whole life. and those are my credentials. I've been an Indian my whole life. He's been involved in the culture. I mean, culture, maybe he's talking about the religious aspect, which he most likely is, dealing with the spirits. I mean, that's how he's operated. But in reality, I mean, everyone that lives here and was born and raised here and grown up in America and is an American Indian, they have their own subcultures that make them Indian. And we've talked about what the Native American culture is. Native American culture is a blending of different tribal groups where they come together and they create this one culture. And it's out there, and you could get crazy like Russell Means. I mean, he says, if you were born here, you're a native. It's like, you know what? But most people, when they think of Native America, they think of the powwows, they think of the teepees, they think of, the warrior on a horse. I mean, we're all describing the Lakota way of life 150 years ago, except the powwows. But now the powwows are all contemporary. Different dances from different people, and there's smoke dances. There's the jingle dress. There's Southern style versus Northern style. There's a lot of different aspects of culture, but it always changes. And so my credentials is I've been Indian my whole life, and can't change that. I mean, those are my credentials. So I guess we're talking about credentials now, and but the next, we're going to do a couple videos and we're going to be putting them up. But the effects of the colonization, what are those things, and how do we view them today? I mean, is the corruption that we're facing today a direct result of the colonization? A lot of people say, well, America is the greatest country in the world, and it is. It's a land of opportunity, and now we need to take those opportunities, and we're going to get into some of that in the next video. So hope you have a great day, and hope you're listening. Oh, jeez. I was like, who's that?